Most people think getting rich means you're popping bottles, driving a Lamborghini, and rocking a Rolex. But the truly wealthy, you'd probably never even notice them. They're the ones in a used Camry, living in a normal-looking house, and quietly building a fortune while everyone else is busy trying to look rich. They follow a secret playbook to grow their wealth and disappear. And today, we're tearing out the pages for you. Now, this isn't about being cheap. This is about being strategic. It's the fundamental mindset that separates people who stay rich from those who just get rich for a little while. In a world obsessed with showing off, the ultimate power move is to have wealth no one knows about. It's about reaching a level of financial freedom so complete that you don't need to prove a single thing to anyone. The goal isn't just to get rich. It's to stay rich and, more importantly, to be free. The modern world has laid a very convincing trap. Social media is a 24/7 highlight reel of materialism. We see influencers on private jets, friends with new designer bags, and feel this constant pressure to keep up with the Joneses, who are now broadcasting every single purchase they make. This creates what researchers call status anxiety, that nagging feeling you're falling behind because your life doesn't look as good as someone else's online. This pressure leads to what we can call loud wealth. It's a performance. It's buying things you can't really afford to impress people you don't even like. And it's the fastest way to go broke. Flaunting wealth is a financial mistake that can attract unwanted attention, create toxic expectations from friends and family, and fuel horrible spending habits. But there's another path, a quieter one. It's a path of the unassuming millionaire next door, the person who values financial security far more than social status. This is a path of stealth wealth. It's the art of accumulating a significant fortune while maintaining a low-profile lifestyle to avoid attention, resentment, and risk. It's choosing long-term freedom over short-term validation. The truly wealthy have figured out that invisibility gives them more than visibility ever could. They aren't just playing a different game. They're playing a much, much better one. And the rule book for this game is what we're breaking down right now. These 7 rules are the pillars of that philosophy. They're practical, they're psychological, and they're incredibly powerful. The first rule of stealth wealth: drive a Camry, not a Ferrari. The first, and maybe the most visible, rule of stealth wealth is to be incredibly deliberate and modest with the car you drive. A car is the ultimate modern status symbol, a rolling billboard that screams to the world how much money you have, or, more accurately, how much debt you're willing to take on. The stealth wealth practitioner understands this game and consciously refuses to play. They don't see a car as a trophy. They see it as a tool to get from point A to point B reliably and affordably. Contrary to what you see in movies, most millionaires are not whipping around in Aston Martins or Bugattis. In fact, studies and surveys of millionaires in America consistently find that the most popular car brands among them are Toyota, Honda, and Ford. Even famous billionaires are known for driving modest cars for decades. This isn't because they're pathologically cheap. It's because they understand a fundamental concept most people miss: opportunity cost. The great paradox of wealth is this: the more money you spend looking wealthy, the less money you have to actually build wealth. Let's break this down with a practical example. Imagine 2 people, Alex and Ben, both get a nice promotion. Ben decides to reward himself with a brand new luxury SUV for $70,000. He takes on a car payment of over $1,000 a month for the next 5 years. He feels great. He pulls into the office parking lot, gets some admiring glances, and successfully signals his new status. Now let's look at Alex. Alex follows the stealth wealth playbook. He buys a 3-year-old certified pre-owned Toyota Camry for under $20,000. It's reliable, safe, and completely unremarkable. He pays cash, so no car payment. He then takes the $50,000 he didn't light on fire for the luxury SUV, plus the $1,000 a month he isn't spending on a payment, and invests it. Let's run the numbers on that one decision. That initial $50,000 invested in a simple S&P 500 index fund with an average historical return of around 9 to 10%, would grow to over $230,000 in 20 years, without him adding another dime. Now, add the $1,000 a month he's investing instead of sending to a bank. Over those same 20 years, that alone becomes over $500,000. Combined, Alex's boring car decision has made him nearly $750,000 richer than Ben, who is probably still stuck in a cycle of upgrading his car every few years to keep up appearances. This isn't just about the numbers. It's also psychology. The last thing you want is for your boss to see you pull into the parking lot in a new Mercedes right before your salary negotiation. Consciously or not, it sends a signal that you're doing just fine, which might not work in your favor. By driving a modest vehicle, you blend in, you avoid envy from colleagues, you sidestep lifestyle inflation, and you keep the focus on your work, not your wallet. The stealth wealth practitioner knows a car is a depreciating asset. It's a financial hole you pour money into for maintenance and insurance, all for the sake of an image. The quiet millionaire would rather pour that money into assets that appreciate, stocks, real estate, businesses, the things that build real, lasting freedom. So, the first rule is simple in practice but profound in its impact. Ditch the desire for a flashy car. Choose something affordable, reliable, and invisible. Invest the difference. Every time you get behind the wheel of your boring car, you can smile knowing it's not just a car. It's a secret wealth-generating machine, quietly working for your future freedom. The second rule of stealth wealth: wear a uniform, not a costume. The second rule of stealth wealth takes the logic of the modest car and applies it to your closet. Wear ordinary clothing and ditch the flashy luxury goods. The goal is to blend in, to become socially invisible, and to dress for function and quality, not for brand recognition. People practicing stealth wealth don't need to wear their net worth on their sleeve. We live in a world drowning in logos. From designer belts to $500 sneakers, luxury brands have become a lazy shorthand for status. But here's a fun fact. The majority of global luxury sales aren't made to the super rich, but to middle-class consumers who are trying to signal that they're rich. The truly wealthy often opt out of this game completely. Their self-worth is internal. It isn't dependent on external validation from the stuff they own. Psychologists call this secure high status. A billionaire in a plain t-shirt still knows they're a billionaire. The clothes don't change that. But someone who is insecure about their status feels a constant need to display it. Think of it this way. You can wear a costume or a uniform. A costume is worn to project an image, to play a part, to convince an audience you're someone you might not be. This is loud wealth, the logo-heavy outfit screaming, "Look at me, I made it." A uniform, on the other hand, is practical. It's chosen for its utility and its comfort. The stealth wealth practitioner adopts a personal uniform. It might be a simple, well-fitting pair of jeans and a plain, high-quality sweater. It's unbranded, timeless, and understated. This doesn't mean dressing poorly. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about choosing quality over flash. The quiet millionaire might spend good money on well-made shoes that will last a decade, but they will be discreet, without an obvious logo. They understand the difference between price and value. A $500 logo t-shirt has a high price, but almost no real value. A $200 pair of durable, comfortable, all-weather boots has actual value. They spend money to reduce stress and increase comfort, not to impress others. Imagine this real-world scenario. A successful tech entrepreneur, worth tens of millions, regularly goes to industry conferences. Instead of showing up in a flashy suit and a diamond watch, he wears dark jeans, a simple black sweater, and clean, minimalist sneakers. He looks like every other programmer in the room. What does this do for him? It allows him to have genuine conversations. People talk to him as a peer, not as a whale to be pitched or a boss to be flattered. He gets honest feedback and builds real relationships because his wealth isn't the first thing people notice. The psychological benefit here is huge. It frees you from the exhausting treadmill of trends. You no longer have to worry about what's in or whether your clothes are impressive enough. You simplify your life. And just like with a fancy car, flashy clothes can attract the wrong kind of attention. It can lead to resentment from colleagues, unsolicited requests for money, and even make you a target. This rule is about a fundamental mindset shift from external validation to internal validation. Your confidence should come from your skills and your financial security, not the brand on your shirt. The goal is to be respected for who you are, not for what you wear. Let your achievements speak for you, not your clothes. When you stop trying to prove you're rich, you can focus your energy on actually being rich. And true wealth whispers. It never shouts. The third rule of stealth wealth: never reveal your numbers. The third rule is arguably the most important one for protecting your wealth and your sanity. Never, ever reveal your full income, your net worth, or the details of your assets. This is the core of the disappear part of the equation. In a world that overshares everything, financial privacy is a superpower. The desire to share good news is human. You land a huge bonus. You close a big deal. Your investment portfolio crosses a major milestone. The natural instinct is to tell someone, to celebrate that win. But the stealth wealth practitioner knows this brief moment of satisfaction comes at a huge long-term cost. The moment you become the rich friend or the rich family member, the dynamic of your relationships can change forever. Revealing your wealth, even to people you trust, invites a ton of problems. First, it invites envy and resentment. Psychological studies and social observations show that perceived wealth can lead to significant social pressure and unsolicited financial requests. Friends and family might start seeing you as a walking ATM. Little comments like, "It must be nice," or, "Well, you can afford it," begin to creep into conversations, creating a subtle but corrosive tension. Your relationships get clouded by money, and you start to wonder if people like you or for your wallet. Second, it makes you a target. Flaunting wealth can be a magnet for scams, frivolous lawsuits, and even theft. In today's world, information spreads fast. Contractors might inflate their quotes. Salespeople will push harder, and you'll get an endless stream of amazing investment opportunities from opportunistic acquaintances. Privacy is your first line of defense. So how do you actually do this? You have to master the art of the vague and non-committal answer. You need a few polite but firm deflections ready to go. When a coworker asks how that side business is going, you don't say, "It's incredible, I cleared 6 figures last year." You say, "It's been a great learning experience, and it's really rewarding to have a passion project." You talk about the process, not the profit. When a family member asks about your salary after a promotion, you don't give them a number. You say, "I'm being compensated fairly and I'm happy with it." Or, "It's enough to let us focus on the future," which feels great. You anchor your answer in security or gratitude, not dollar signs. A powerful real-life example comes from an investor who owned 28 rental properties. When visiting his properties for maintenance, he'd dress in simple work clothes. Tenants often assumed he was just a handyman, a misconception he never corrected. This allowed him to get honest, unfiltered feedback about the properties and the management company. If they knew he was a wealthy owner, the conversation would have been completely different. He operated under the radar, getting better information and avoiding the messy dynamics of being the rich landlord. This rule extends beyond conversations. It means curating what you post online. You don't post pictures of your first-class ticket, your 5-star resort, or your expensive new toy. Each post is a data point that helps people build a profile of your wealth. The ultimate goal of this rule is to control your own narrative. By keeping your numbers private, you're defined by who you are, not by what you have. Your relationships stay more authentic. Your decisions stay more rational. And your life remains your own, free from the expectations and pressures that visible wealth always brings. Guard your financial details as fiercely as you guard your passwords. They are the key to your financial privacy and, in turn, your peace. All right, we're at the halfway point, and if these ideas are hitting home, if you're ready to stop playing the game of looking rich and start playing the game of being rich, then do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells the algorithm this is valuable information and helps get this playbook into the hands of more people who need it. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We're not just talking theory here. We're building a community of people dedicated to achieving real financial freedom quietly and effectively. Now, let's get back to the rules. The fourth rule of stealth wealth: intentionally live below your means. The fourth rule is the engine that drives the entire stealth wealth machine. Intentionally and consistently live below your means. This might sound like the most obvious financial advice ever, but the stealth wealth approach has a crucial twist. It's not about being miserable or depriving yourself. It's about creating a massive, ever-widening gap between what you earn and what you spend, and doing it with quiet, invisible discipline. Most people fall into a trap called lifestyle inflation or lifestyle creep. As their income goes up, their spending goes up right alongside it. A bigger salary means a bigger house, a fancier car, more expensive vacations. They work harder and earn more, but they never really feel like they're getting ahead. They're on a hamster wheel, and the only thing that changes is the price of the wheel. Despite a high income, they have little to show for it in actual wealth. The stealth wealth practitioner deliberately breaks this cycle. When they get a raise or a bonus, they basically pretend it never happened. They maintain their current standard of living and divert the entire increase straight into savings and investments. This one habit is one of the most powerful wealth-building tools on the planet. It turns temporary income boosts into permanent, freedom-generating assets. Let's look at a powerful example. Consider a family with a household income of $500,000 a year. In their city, this is a great income, but many of their peers earning the same amount are still living paycheck to paycheck. They're funding 2 luxury car leases, a mortgage on a huge home, expensive private schools, and exotic vacations. They look rich, but their balance sheet is fragile. Our stealth wealth family does it differently. They make a conscious choice to live on $250,000 a year. That still allows for a very comfortable life, a nice home in a good neighborhood, reliable cars, and quality family time. But it's a life that's 50% below their means. What about the other $250,000? Let's say after taxes, they're able to invest $100,000 of that every single year. In just 10 years, by investing that $100,000 annually, they will have over $1.5 million in assets, completely separate from their home equity or primary retirement accounts. From the outside, they just look like a normal upper-middle-class family. But secretly, they've built a fortress of financial independence. This isn't about being a miser. It's about mindful consumption. It's about aligning your spending with your actual values, not society's expectations. Quiet millionaires understand that lasting happiness doesn't come from stuff, but from meaningful experiences and, most importantly, from freedom. They might cook at home more often, not just to save money, but because they value their health and time with family. Living below your means creates a financial buffer that is the ultimate source of peace of mind. When you have low overhead and significant savings, you're insulated from life shocks. A job loss, a medical emergency, or an economic downturn is a stressful event, but it's not a catastrophe. You have options. You have a runway. You have control. This psychological security is a form of wealth that money can't buy directly, but this habit provides it. The key to making this work is to make it automatic. Set up automatic transfers to your investment accounts for the day after you get paid. You pay yourself first, making saving an invisible, non-negotiable expense. This rule is the quietest of them all. No one sees the money you don't spend. No one sees the automatic transfers to your brokerage account. All they see is someone living a normal life. They have no idea you are methodically building an empire in the background. This is the essence of getting rich and disappearing. You're not just earning money. You're converting your income into freedom, one discipline, invisible decision at a time. The fifth rule of stealth wealth: attribute success to luck and downplay intelligence. The fifth rule of stealth wealth is a masterclass in social jujitsu. It's about managing the envy and judgment that always follow success. The rule is this: when confronted with your success, always project humility, attribute your good fortune to luck, and actively downplay your own strategic brilliance. Let's be honest, brilliant people can be intimidating. When you give off an aura of being smarter and savvier than everyone else, it creates distance. It can make others feel insecure or inferior, and that insecurity often sours into resentment. Even worse, it can make you seem arrogant. And nobody roots for the person who acts like they have it all figured out. The stealth wealth practitioner understands this and actively works to diffuse it. They know that being relatable is far more valuable than being impressive. They do this by sharing their failures, asking for advice, and crediting lucky breaks for their biggest wins. Let's say you made a fantastic investment in a stock that tripled. When a friend asks about it, the loud wealth response is to brag. Yeah, I analyzed the company's fundamentals. I saw the market trend before anyone else, and I made a brilliant call. I knew it was going to pop. This response, even if it's true, makes you sound like a genius and makes your friend feel like they missed out because they weren't as smart as you. The stealth wealth response is completely different. You'd say something like, honestly, I just got really lucky. I threw a little money at it and happened to catch a good wave. I barely knew what I was doing. It was a total lucky break. See the difference? The first response creates distance and envy. The second creates connection. You brought yourself down to their level and made your success seem accidental and therefore non-threatening. You've let them off the hook so they don't feel bad about their own situation. This tactic is incredibly powerful in professional settings, too. In a business deal, it is far better to be underestimated. If you come across as a know-it-all, the other side's guard goes up. But if you ask questions, admit you don't understand certain things, and project an image of being a humble student of the game, people lower their defenses. They'll be more inclined to explain things to you, and in doing so, they might just reveal more than they planned. You should guard your intelligence as carefully as you guard your income. Consistently mentioning past failures is another key part of this. Talking about the business you tried to start in your 20s that went broke, or the investment that lost you thousands, makes your eventual success feel more earned and relatable. People can root for that person. This isn't about being dishonest. It's about being socially intelligent. It's recognizing that in many situations, overt displays of success trigger comparison. And comparison is a thief of joy and often the enemy of good relationships. By attributing your wins to luck, sharing your losses openly, and asking more questions than you answer, you accomplish several things at once. You deflect envy. You build genuine rapport. You gain a strategic advantage by being underestimated. And you protect your own peace of mind. You become the quiet achiever who everyone likes and nobody sees as a threat, all while you continue to build your fortune in the shadows. The sixth rule of stealth wealth: focus on quiet assets and avoid bad debt. The sixth rule is all about what you do with the money you're so carefully and quietly saving. The rule is to aggressively invest in quiet assets while simultaneously avoiding loud debt and speculative hype. This is where your financial discipline turns into tangible, compounding wealth. First, let's define the terms. Loud debt is debt you take on to buy depreciating status symbols. It's the car loan on the luxury SUV, the credit card debt from designer clothes, the personal loan for a lavish wedding. This type of debt exists almost purely to maintain an image. It's a financial anchor that makes the lender rich at your expense. The stealth wealth practitioner avoids this kind of debt like the plague. They understand that every dollar paid in interest on something that's losing value is a dollar stolen from their future freedom. On the other hand, you have quiet assets. These are investments that generate income or grow in value without attracting a bunch of attention. They are the boring, unsexy, and incredibly effective engines of wealth creation. The top three categories are broad market index funds and ETFs. This is the bedrock of stealth wealth investing. By buying a fund that tracks the S&P 500 or the total stock market, you're betting on the long-term growth of the whole economy. It's diversified, low cost, and requires almost no active management. It's so boring you'll never talk about it at a dinner party, which is exactly the point. Cash flowing real estate. This could be a physical rental property or shares in a real estate investment trust, REIT. The goal is to own an asset that provides a steady stream of passive income. A stealthy investor might hold their properties in an LLC for privacy. To the world, they just have a regular job, but secretly, they're collecting rent checks every month, building another silent stream of income. Dividend-paying stocks. These are shares in stable, established companies that pay out a portion of their profits to you. This provides a regular income stream that you can reinvest to buy more shares, creating a powerful compounding snowball effect. The key is to avoid the hype cycle. The stealthy wealthy aren't chasing the latest meme stock or crypto coin being hyped on social media. They know these speculative bubbles are designed to lure in people looking to get rich quick, and while a few might win a lottery, many more lose everything. The quiet millionaire isn't interested in gambling. They're interested in methodical, proven, long-term compounding. Their investment strategy is intentionally boring and consistent. Let's circle back to that $70,000 luxury SUV. The person who buys it takes on loud debt for a loud, depreciating asset. The stealth wealth practitioner might take that same $70,000 and, assuming they have the capital, use it as a down payment on a duplex. They could live in one half and rent out the other. The rental income now covers most, if not all, of the mortgage. Now they are living for nearly free in an asset that is appreciating, while someone else pays down their good debt. Over 20 years, they'll own a valuable property, having built hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity, while the luxury SUV is a worthless pile of scrap metal. The goal here is to build multiple, independent streams of income. A salary is one stream. Dividends are another. Rental income is a third. The more silent income streams you can build, the more resilient you become. You are no longer dependent on a single paycheck. This diversification provides an incredible sense of security and freedom. By funneling your money into quiet, productive assets and ruthlessly avoiding debt for consumption, you are building a financial fortress, brick by invisible brick. You're making your money work for you 24/7 in a way that no one else can see. The seventh rule of stealth wealth: stay under the radar for ultimate freedom. The seventh and final rule is the culmination of all the others. It's the ultimate why behind this entire philosophy. The rule is to strategically stay under the radar to achieve the highest forms of wealth: peace of mind, genuine relationships, and complete personal freedom. This is a disappear part of promise, and it's where the real payoff is. By following the first 6 rules, you have systematically removed the visible targets from your back. You drive a modest car. You wear simple clothes. You don't talk about your money. You live below your means, you're humble, and your assets are growing quietly in the background. You become financially strong, but socially invisible. This invisibility isn't about hiding. It's a form of liberation. First, it grants you psychological peace. When you aren't constantly trying to signal your status, you are free from the exhausting pressure to keep up. You escape the anxiety of social comparison. Your self-worth is no longer tied to what other people think, allowing you to live a life aligned with your own values, not someone else's expectations. This massive reduction in stress and anxiety is one of the greatest benefits of the stealth wealth lifestyle. Second, it lets you build more authentic relationships. When your wealth isn't on display, you can be more certain that people are drawn to you for who you are, not for what you have. Friendships are cleaner, and family dynamics are less complicated. You don't have to waste mental energy wondering about people's motives. Third, it gives you a powerful strategic advantage. We touched on this before, but it's worth repeating. Being underestimated is a superpower. In negotiations, people will be more transparent. When you ask for advice, you'll get more honest feedback. You can navigate the world without the flattery or resentment that often greets visible wealth, allowing you to see people and situations as they truly are. Fourth, It provides a crucial layer of security. By not drawing attention to yourself, you reduce your risk of becoming a target for theft, scams, or lawsuits. This isn't just about financial protection. It's about physical safety. High-profile people often have to spend a fortune on security. The stealth wealth practitioner gets a higher level of safety for free, just by blending in. The ultimate goal isn't just to accumulate money, but to acquire freedom. Freedom from debt. Freedom from the opinions of others. Freedom from social pressure and anxiety. And most importantly, the freedom to do whatever you want with your time. Quiet millionaires have cracked the code. True wealth isn't about what you own. It's about the freedom to live life entirely on your own terms. They've moved past needing to prove anything to anyone. Their success is internal. Their validation comes from within. And their greatest luxury is their autonomy. So there you have it. The 7 rules of the Stealth Wealth Playbook. Let's run through them one last time. Drive a modest car. Wear ordinary clothes. Never reveal your numbers. Live intentionally below your means. Attribute your success to luck. Invest in quiet assets and avoid bad debt. Stay under the radar for ultimate freedom. These rules aren't about deprivation. They're about intention. They're about consciously choosing the long game over the short game. They are about understanding that the richest form of wealth is the kind you don't have to prove. Most people are competing to look successful. The people who follow these rules are competing to be free. And that is a world of difference. While others are busy broadcasting their temporary wins, the stealth wealth practitioner is quietly building permanent security. While others are buying liabilities to impress their neighbors, they're buying assets to buy back their time. Building wealth this way, invisibly, methodically, and without fanfare, is the ultimate power move. It's the art of getting rich and, in the process, disappearing from a stressful, status-obsessed world, allowing you to reappear in a life of your own design. The choice is yours. Keep chasing the appearance of wealth, or start building the reality of freedom. If this video resonated with you, share it with one person you know who's ready to get off the hamster wheel and start building real, quiet wealth. And drop a comment below with the one rule you're going to start implementing this week. I read every single one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.